Okay. Um, Let me read off the next thing I have to do for the mobile pop-up tent, which we are working on now. Alright, so our goal is to create a second layer of pipe to slide into a sleeve around the lower pipe so that we can have height adjustability. So one pipe will rise up past the other pipe with some overlap, and it will slide up and down to raise it or lower it. And here specifically is a breakdown step, the first breakdown step of achieving that end. Cut a 1.5 inch length piece of tin and shape into a oval and tape it to hold it in its oval shape, and then it is to slide down onto the top of the bottommost half of pipe, and we are to wrap this pipe with tape and also wrap with fabric tape and also wrap the top of the pipe with fabric tape, and then sew the top and bottom portions of fabric tape tightly into place onto the pipe with upholstery thread to lock it in position, and it will serve as the topmost sleeve through which the topmost section of pipe is to slide freely up and down, and it needs to be stretchy fabric tape so that it will have some give and be able to rotate some to allow for the topmost section of pipe to reposition itself to drop into the 30-degree staggered bottom cups slash pockets that it is to sit in. So that might be kind of hard to follow, but I can follow. I can visualize all of that. Alright, so first thing I want to do is just wipe down this pipe one more time. Just clean it real quick. This is project time. This is what it's all about, really. This is what makes, I don't want to say makes life worth living, but I mean I'm a project guy. You guys know that. I write down all kinds of projects, and it's my goal to actually work on those projects and complete them. So it's self-fulfilling, which is a very important part of Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, is to be able to self-fulfill and do the things you feel give your life purpose and meaning. And for me, that's doing my projects. Otherwise, might as well just eat donuts all day and watch movies if I'm not going to do anything productive or contribute to society in any way. I want something good to do with all of my skill and brain power. Most of the day I just spend doing boring administrative work, filling orders, customer support, responding to emails, whatever. But this is the part of the day where I get to really do the cool stuff. Alright, so this is the bottommost pipe that has the wheel, and this other pipe is supposed to be able to slide along this pipe. Now, we want there to be a sleeve here connecting the two. Where my fingers are, that's what we want a sleeve to do. And so I just decided the easiest way to do that, I think the easiest, is with, well, wait a minute, what if we use zip ties? No, I don't think that would work. No, I think the best way would be using this tin. The tin is strong. It should be fast and easy. Let's use some of this scrap tin. It's not weak, mailbox. Alright. Oh my. Well, there we have it. That was pretty easy. Oh, I know what I gotta do. Okay. Okay. We need our tin cutter. Alright, and that's here. Let me show a close-up of what I'm doing. So I just wrapped it around it real snug. I'm cutting away the excess. We're gonna need more tin. I used almost this whole little piece already. Ooh, that cut like butter. Man, this is a really good tin snip I bought. Wow. My other tin snips sucked. That felt so easy. Okay. And now let me cut this. Okay. And now let me get some tape. Fabric tape. Huh. Okay. Okay. I'm now thinking we should just leave it on here loose and just put a band on the top and bottom. Right? Yeah, I think that's the best play here. So, alright, we'll get some wire. Okay. So pretty much we're putting a thick part above and below this oval band or sleeve, which will prevent it from sliding up or down off the bottom pipe. And yet it can still rotate in place, which is what we want. I think this is going to work, guys. Am I doing this in a really ghetto way? I'm sorry if this is not the appropriate way it's supposed to be done. Oh, I feel like using electrical tape on this part in a bit. Okay. And let's give it a rotation again. Huh. Probably could have just electrical taped it from the beginning instead of wire. Alright. The side facing the pipe, I need to be flush pipe to pipe for the most part. It was too hard to slide because the hump I created with the wire was rubbing against this pipe, which we want to slide freely. So we're just going to electrical tape over this. And we should be good to go. It'll be much flatter now. Okay. Now the end on electrical tape will peel off for sure. So I'm going to use some of my custom high quality tape, which is nitrile rubber and adhesive, double stick adhesive transfer tape. Nitrile rubber from a nitrile rubber glove. Okay. So now I'm sealing off the end so it won't ever peel up. And there we go. So now this thing can't go upward, but it can still rotate around. And that's what we wanted. Now we just have to do that for the bottom part. Same thing on the bottom. Hey, okay. Get rid of this. Then we will again tape. Alright. Epic fails. This is awkward. I need a third hand here. Oh my gosh. Grr. You know what? Screw this. Get that wheel off. Okay. This job should be a lot easier now. Whoops. Why does it not stick to the pipe at all? I don't get it. I mean, at all. Oof. There. Now we're cooking. Okay. Let's just cut that off now. Tape off that edge so it won't peel back. What's ruined? Nothing's ruined. That's a lie, mailbox. Okay. So there we have it. We now have... We can now raise the height of the pole coming out of the wheel. We now have height adjustability of this pole. Boom. That's what we wanted. It's now adjustable. I'm only concerned about these sharp edges and stuff, so I'm gonna try to clip them off and tape them off and whatever. I'm not sure. Okay, that one is better. I guess if we cut them to be rounded off, maybe. Or should we sand it? I don't know, man. It seems like it'll take too long. I know. We can silicone it. Little smudges of strategically placed silicone will protect all the sharp edges. Here's a sharp edge right here. Where this metal is, that could cut. So we're gonna just put a little bit of silicone down. Just to protect. All the spots that look like a risky spot. Just gonna protect myself from future injuries. Now, that kind of took a while, but I think that was sort of fast-ish. I think it was a fast method. I just take long to do everything, so the average person would have done that in 1/5 the time, I guess. I still think it's a good method. Okay. So that was not exactly how I planned to do it, but it was faster. We didn't have to do any sewing or anything. We should probably silicone over this fabric tape to really seal it off where it ends, so that it won't accidentally unwind on us. I doubt it would, because no, it is load bearing. What am I talking about? This is actually very load bearing. In fact, well, let's see. Do you guys think this could break? It's just folded over tin with some really good fabric tape over it. You guys think it'll break? Now I'd have to make the silicone come undone too. It could break, right? It's gonna break. Dak nabbit. It's gonna break, isn't it? I could just picture some windy day, and then I walk outside and the tent's snapped in half. This is gonna be 8 feet tall. And heavy winds. I should sew it. I should sew it. Let's sew it then, guys. Wait, the stitches are gonna go through all that silicone now. I got it. We'll wrap the thread around the silicone and through it. Okay. Well, heck, we don't even have to sew it. Do we? We'll just silicone this thread and just wrap it, because it's in wet silicone right now. Let's see. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So this is all just paranoia based work now. Making sure that this strap does not have the ability to just open up by accident. The metal interior gives it nice frictionless sliding capabilities. And now we need to just wrap it tight so it can't open up. So the way I see it, we'll just wrap it a gazillion times, and then it would be too hard for it to snap in half. That's the theory. This is pretty fun. Isn't this how they do it in the jungle, just wrapping vines around sticks or whatever lots of times? It's called lashings or latchings. They used to make ships this way. Just wrap, 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 wrap. The more you wrap, the stronger it gets. Okay. Got some silicone on my knuckle there by accident. What do you think, mailbox? Does this look like I ruined it, or does it look like I'm doing a good job here? This tent needs to be stormproof. So these big steel pipes are not going to bend from the wind. No way. So where's the breaking points? Well, the wheels could be the breaking point. Since I just made them out of fiberglass, they're probably not as strong as solid steel wheels. So that's a potential place it could break. And then these latches are a potential place. But, as you can see, or these sleeves, I mean. These sleeves I'm trying to make really strong. Every potential breaking point we want to unbreakable it, if that's proper English. We want to make this thing not capable of failing. That's our goal. It's not ruined. Okay. I think this thing is unbreakable. Once all this silicone cures up, there's just no way. There's no way that's going to fail. I actually do want a bit more wire. Let me get a little more wire. Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you what, let me tape it down with some good tape first. You think the wheels... Okay, by you saying the wheels are the first breaking point, then you think that this joint right here is stronger than the wheels. That's a nice vote of confidence, because I think the wheels are going to be plenty strong. So if you think the wheels are the weakest link, then I'm confident this thing is not breakable. This tent is unbreakable, guys. You heard it here first. No matter, the wind can blow and howl all at once, doesn't matter. Nothing, no force could ever break my tent. Impossible. And Mailbox just admitted it. It's unbreakable. I don't want to weld. See, I'm trying to avoid welding, brazing, and other things that I think will slow me down. I'm just using tape and string and silicone, like anything that I feel like is just quick and easy to add in. That's just, to me, string and tape and stuff like that are just like more intuitive materials to work with. And I like to avoid welding and all that, hardcore stuff, metalworking. I don't have that much experience with metalworking. I can weld, and I do weld when it's unavoidable. Like, you have to weld muffler stuff because so much heat is produced by a muffler pipe that you can't use tape or something. Anything you try would fail. But anything like just structural, it doesn't have to withstand ridiculous temperatures. I feel like you can get away with glues and composite techniques and stuff like that. Okay, this is hard. Let me get my needle nose. Try to install this little wire. Okay. Now I'm gonna need to do the structural wrapping. I feel like electrical tape is pretty good structural for something like this, where it's just like not really structural. It's just the aim of these wire humps are just to prevent my sleeve from sliding up or down the bottom pipe, because then it'd come off. It's meant to stay in the same place in the Y direction, vertical direction. Okay, so let me just cut that there. And we gotta tape that off with some good tape. There it is. Never trust an electrical tape seam. Things come off in no time. Can't wait to see it fly away. It needs weight to keep it down. Oh, I have a whole system plan for that. I'm going to create anchor points on spikes going into the yard and strap that to the tent wheels in various strategic spots and stuff like that. Yeah, that's an important part. I have to anchor it down, you're right. And I have extensive plans for that. I also considered actually drilling into the driveway and putting little rock climbing anchors like they do on the sides of mountains that have the clip-in loops, and then I can clip in my tent on rock climbing anchors put into the driveway. But I'm worried that my dad would be mad if I, damage the driveway, so quote unquote, with these anchors. So I think I should not do it that way, but once he's used to the tent there for maybe a couple years, if I sneak one anchor in, and he might be mad, but he's so used to me using the tent in the driveway, I think he'll overlook it. Plus I can have it kind of hidden in where the tent area is, and I don't think he'll be that mad. But whenever you do things without permission, you should not do them all at once. So he'll be mad that I'm putting a tent in the driveway, but it's not an offense that is going to warrant him saying, you know what, you're not permitted to do so. He'll be like, well, I can see why he needs a tent. He's working on cars all the time, so let him have his tent. It's on wheels. He can put it away after. So I'll start out just using the tent and putting it away after each use. But then once he's used to the tent being in the driveway at times, maybe over a few month period, I'll start to leave it out longer and longer in the driveway without putting it away. Until eventually, after 6 months to a year, it just stays in the driveway next to the car permanently. And I never put away the tent. But you gotta ease the homeowner into these things. You can't just do it all at once. It's gradual training them to tolerate change. Gradual change is not ever yelled at. It's sudden major changes. And then eventually we'll also then implement. Look at that. So smooth, so nice. Wow. Professional work. That's professional work. Eventually then we'll add some anchors drilled into the driveway. But at first we'll just drill anchors into the lawn with stakes. Alright, so this is going to be adjustable. Now we need to be able to set the height to its max point. And for that, we need a cup. I don't think you guys will know what I mean by a cup. So let me try to show what I'm talking about. After you get it all the way stretched out to where the pipes, like right there, I want a certain amount of overlap. So from here to here, that's about 2 feet of overlap I want to keep. Then we'll have a cup, like a cap, sitting here that we can slide the upper pipe into, so it's seated so it can't slide back down again. So then with a cap here acting as my hand is acting, the pipe can't go back down. So it will slide into a pocket or a cap. And then, in theory, it's unbreakable. If the cap doesn't break off the bottom part, and this top latch, this top sleeve we just made doesn't break off the top part, then blow as the wind might, things can wobble like this, but nothing happens. There's no way the top pipe can come off, and no way anything can break, and everything's just solid. The weak point will be the wheels, and I trust the wheels. I put a lot of extra fiberglass and epoxy on the wheels because everybody kept saying they look too weak, they should be made of metal, blah, blah, blah. So I played it extra conservative, and because of that extra care and attention and extra layers of fiberglass in the critical points, I'm confident that I headed off a lot of problems. I went extra strong just to play it safe. I trust these wheels. I think that these wheels will be able to take the weight of me jumping on them. That's how strong I believe they are. Okay. So, the pocket next. Oof, I cut myself on something. That's not good. The pocket, the pocket, the pocket. Well, I wanted to use a cap of some sort. I would like to use a metal cap. Let's go get a metal cap and I'll be back. We're just going to tape a metal pipe cap onto it, and then this top pipe will just sit in that and seat itself, and then it can't slide down once we lock it in. And then when we want to remove it, we just lift it, twist it over, and drop it all the way down, and it will pass the cap because it can rotate coaxially around the bottom pipe. Because we made the top sleeve not fixed, the top pipe can rotate around the bottom pipe, so it can be offset from the cap to drop it down past the cap once we're ready. So I'll be back with the cap. Mailbox, it's gonna work! How dare you doubt me? You should know better. Okay, yeah. I got 4 CPVC 90 fittings that are 1-inch diameter. I couldn't find caps, but I believe 90s will work, because if you point a 90 with one side facing upward and then you try to slide a pipe through it, then it's going to hit the bottom of the 90 and stop going forward. So that will effectually be a pocket / cap. It's PVC 3/4. Okay, so it's not CPVC, it's PVC. And I'm just cleaning them off. Tape is going to work, mailbox. I don't think you realize how strong tape can be if used intelligently. I had to get 4 because we're going to do 4 of these joints. Tape can degrade? That's not true. Not the kind of tape I'm using. First of all, electrical tape is used to wrap electrical wiring for cars. And cars are out in freezing temperatures and hot temperatures. The tape does not fail as far as its tensile strength. What it will do is peel up on the ends, and for that, as I've shown, I'm covering that always with adhesive transfer tape, which can handle a huge range of temperatures. It's an industrial tape. And it's already been tested in all weather conditions, and it never loses stickiness, ever. Well, now I'm using plastic on metal. I can't weld plastic to metal. And I really don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolutely must. 'Cause I don't like using my welder unless I absolut it's a big heavy thing to get out, and gotta wear that mask and blah blah blah. You gotta be concerned with the fumes. I can do welding in my vacuum chamber, but even working in that is kind of hard with these big poles. It's not like a small item I can just put in the chamber. They're big poles. Alright. So let's put 3 of these to the side and worry about just one for now to get things started. Hooah! Alright. So, let's say we want to put the cap right here. We need this cap to stay right where I have it. Then. It doesn't have to carry that much weight. It needs to be strong as far as this position goes. Because when the wind whips, it's going to want to rip this off. Like that, just off the pipe. So as long as it's to the pipe solid, then we're good. There's not too much pressure in this direction. Let me make sure my measurements are all correct as far as the height of this thing on the bottom post. Let's see. This is the 8-footer. It needs to be 2 feet. 2 feet. Ah! Alright. Ugh. Mm-hmm. 24 inches, okay. That's 2 feet? That looks like more than 2 feet. What the heck? There's no way. Actually, this needs to be really accurate. This is going to set the height of the whole thing. I need this bad boy again. But actually, that's fine. I'm going to start out. Let's see. Let me get you guys a close-up then. Alright. This is 1000 denier nylon cloth fabric, nylon, with adhesive transfer tape, industrial strength applied. And there's my cap. So the pipe will sit in here. Now that was just a preliminary tape job. Next we need to think about securing it further. Heh, I'll just do it the same way as I did the top part. I'm just going to silicone it all down and then just wrap silicone my first seam. I believe silicone has a lot of holding power. Okay. Then I'm going to hot glue down some string and then just wrap it a million times. This way there's no frickin' way the wind can rip it off. Um, just kind of load up the silicone so the thread will get coated in it, and then the many wraps of thread around the joint, because all the wraps are going to be coated in the silicone, they're just going to have such tremendous friction at trying to unwind themselves, which is what they'd have to do unless if they're all going to snap at once, which I don't think the wind can cause, 60 threads to snap if you wrap it 60 times. Because each thread has a tensile strength of about 40 pounds, 60 times 40, that's 2,400 pounds. There's no way the wind's going to have 2,400 pounds of force to rip this joint off. That's what it would need. Not to mention the force required to tear the tape off, which is now glued together and taped on. I don't know. There's a lot of. It'd probably need to be like 3,000 pounds of force to break this thing once it's done. And I don't think the wind is going to produce that much force, for crying the frick out loud. If it's going to produce 3,000 pounds of force from the wind, then I don't even know what to tell you, man. Houses will be falling down, trees will be falling down, right? As long as my tent stays up until every last house in the neighborhood is blown down, then I know I built a pretty solid tent, wouldn't you say? Alright, so I'm hot gluing the string end in place to get it started. Now I'm just going to wrap it over and over and over and over and over for strength. I'm making this stuff up as I go, guys. I know these are very unorthodox ways of doing anything, but I'm just using creativity and common sense. And materials that I think are easy to work with. Yeah, we're getting it, man. Each wrap makes this thing stronger. It's another thread I would have to snap in half. And if you look at rock climbing rope, it doesn't even have this many threads. When like the quick draw carabiner things that you clip onto the side of the mountain and all of your weight falls onto that and it doesn't break. All of your weight falling too, so it's like 6,000 pounds of force generated on impact. And those things don't break. And we're using the same type of thread, nylon, and yeah, there's just no way this will break. No frickin' way. I would be delighted if it broke, just because of how awesome that would mean the forces of nature had to become wind-wise. But, like you guys said, the wheels would probably fail first, right? Yeah, if the wheels fail, this thing comes down. And I don't think the wheels could handle the forces that would break this, so the wheels would break first. We kind of all agree that the wheels will be the weak link, but then how fitting is it that I spent the most time on the wheels and really put my heart into it to make sure that those fiberglass wheels would be bomb-proof. They're still the weak link because these vertical poles are solid steel and the latchings are 500-pound tests. Tons and tons of thread would have to snap. Alright. That's enough of that. It's getting ridiculous. Okay. Haha. So I believe this is a super strong way to do anything. So easy. No sewing, no nothing. You just wrap string many, many times around something. and then you silicone glue the string down. And so you gain all the tensile strength of the many strings multiplied by the number of times you wrap it. Plus you gain the silicone to prevent the string from unwinding itself. So it kind of ties it off. And I think the amount of friction created by all that silicone and all that string winding many times would be more friction force than whatever force the snapping point of the string would be, which is all going to be in the hundreds of pounds or whatever, thousands of pounds, I mean. So it's just not going to happen. I would have to test this stuff to failure to see what the actual forces would be and whether it would just start unwrapping first or snap first. I don't really know. That's getting into, mega forces involved. It'd be interesting to run tests, but we're not doing any rock climbing gear or anything homemade, so since it's not life and death, I don't think tests are really in order here. So anyways, that joint's done, so this whole thing's done, right? Let's try it out. I don't want to touch it on the silicone, that's what I'm trying to avoid here. It's all wet silicone. Ugh. Oh, get wrecked, son. Alright, guys, it's in. So that's how it would be. Check it out. So all you have to do is drop it down after. When you want to raise it up, you just lift it, slide it over, drop it into the cup. Boom. And that ain't going nowhere. What do you guys think? Did I nail it or what? Come get some. Boom. Got the overlap. Wind can blow. It's not going anywhere. I think I nailed it. I nailed it, guys. I did it. It's adjustable. It's height adjustable. We did it. Wow. I really am a genius. I mean, I already knew that, but I think I just keep proving it. Every day I keep proving it to you guys. One of these days you guys will finally admit it. That I'm the best. Okay. So yeah, man, that's a stout vertical shaft. Super solid. That thing I'd trust all day long. I would trust it. Let me slap on a little more silicone around some of these strings. Make sure they don't slip out of place, you know. You just want to brush it all over, kind of glue the string down. The latching string, we'll call it, latches it down. I gotta use the silicone sparingly because it's stolen from my father. If you use too much stolen goods, the person being stolen from will notice. So you have to be careful. It's not really stealing though, since technically my dad knows I take his stuff and he just laughs about it. And in the end, I think he's just happy that I'm being productive and he's happy to contribute to the cause. As long as I don't take too much stuff too quickly that costs too much money that he might need in a short term or something like that. You gotta kind of keep things within reason when stealing from people. Don't overdo it. And this is just so exciting. So we did all of that in what, an hour or something? And that included a lot of searching around for materials. I was gone for a while and stuff. We got to do this 3 more times. We got to do it for every single... No. 1 more time, actually. Wait. No, I got to do something totally different for the other pipes. The other pipes, I use vertical... Or I use rebar for one pipe. And then I slid copper, 3/4 copper pipe over it as the second pipe. As the topmost pipe. So for that, we need a different type of system to lock down the vertical adjustability of the top pipe than this system with the cup. So I don't know what we're going to do yet. We could use like a cotter pin or something. I'm not sure. Not sure the best way for that yet. I hear thunder outside, and it makes me think about how if I were working outside today, I'd probably get rained on. What a joke the weather's going to be when I'm in this monster of a tent with air conditioning and heating. I will be unstoppable. I don't have to worry about rain and thunder and all that crap. I'll be basically indoors despite working on a vehicle in my driveway. It's going to be amazing. Okay. Apologize for being so fat. So it happens when you tear your rotator cuff and can't lift weights. There you have it. I just created a little cardboard sleeve with some tape, fabric tape, around the collar of the wheel, so that when I unhook the top pole from its upmost position, I can slide it all the way down and through here, and it will just sit right here like that. So pretend my finger is the top pole, and it's locked up here, and we want to shorten the pole, lowering the height. We just drop it through, and it'd click, and it'd hit and rest on here with its weight, and this would keep it from coming away. It doesn't have to be real strong because it's not really load bearing so much. So I think tape is just fine for this. No string, no nothing extra. At least I don't think it needs anything extra. No, it might. It might. It might need extra. You know what? We better play it safe, because last thing we want is this thing to break. If we're putting up for the day, we would lower it, right? And then go inside and leave it overnight. And the howling winds would start up and blah blah blah. Before you know it, this thing would rip right off. So this actually has to be just as strong as the other part. When it's in deployment mode. Okay, so let me get comfortable and do this job. This is a whole new job for us that I didn't anticipate needing to do. But upon further reflection, we do have to do more. Alright. Let me just snip off the end of this. Oh, come on. Alright. So we'll just seal this off and then cut it. And we'll just put silicone everywhere within reason. Okay. Alright. So now this joint should be really solid and the pipe won't break out and the strings will all stay in place and they won't unwind, and that just solidified everything really well. Now I trust it because it will be load bearing. It will handle all the wind when the pipe is slid down into this slot, just like it's when it's slid down into its current top cup. This is its bottom cup. Both cups have to be super solid, otherwise that'd be a weak breaking point. And so this pull is done. I got another hour and a half. I can keep going, so I think I will. I'm going to move on to the next pull and see if we can get that done. Alright, so this one's done. Let me go ahead and put this out in the hall, and now I have to work on the wheel a little bit, and then yeah, we'll just have to figure out how the heck I want to do the next part after this. I don't know what I'm going to do for that. I have this other project for the other two poles. I have a piece of rebar pipe and then a piece of 3/4 copper pipe that slides over it. It's 1/2 inch rebar. Now, when I raise up the copper pipe, I need it to then be locked at the height and position. I need to be able to unlock it and slide it back down. Now, on a normal canopy, it has a little spring-loaded button that pops out and locks it, and you have to press the button to unlock it. But that's based on two hollow tubes. Rebar is not hollow. So I'm trying to think of how to clamp the copper pipe. Now, the most obvious way would be to drill a hole through the rebar, and then once you raise the copper to the height you want, you just slide a nail through that hole, and that would lock it. But that's going to weaken the rebar. How much, I don't know, but I don't really want to drill a hole through the center of the rebar since that's load bearing, and it might compromise it. Another possibility would be to do what Christmas tree stands do, to have a circular thing with a screw in the side, a set screw, and then you screw that and that would clamp it down. I could even put a set screw in the copper. So you raise the copper up and then you turn a screw. Now that would work. That wouldn't compromise the rebar that way. There we go. It's got to be something like that. Ah, we can have a captive nut, which we could braze onto the copper, and then drill a hole through the nut, and then pass the screw through the hole and through the nut and into... Okay, so you drill a hole into the side of the copper pole, you braze a nut onto the copper, and then you put a screw through that nut, and once you crank that screw down, it's going to tighten itself real tight into the rebar, preventing the copper from sliding up and down, so you can lock it at any height. That's the best solution. Now the screw should have a handle just like an Allen wrench has. Is that what they're called, the Allen wrench? Or hex keys? Are they called hex keys, I think? Yeah, a hex key. So it's like a little hexagonal shaped tip, and then it comes up, and then it 90s off. And you can grab that 90 and use it as leverage to turn it, to unscrew stuff. I should have a 90-degree offshoot or a T coming across the top of the screw so that the screw can be turned by hand with ease without needing to go get a screwdriver. Or I could even just make just a circular handle with little indents in it so your fingers can grab it real tight and you could turn it. Kind of like a steering wheel to tighten the screw. That's what certain gym equipment has, like a big plastic handle to tighten things or whatever. So that's our job for those two poles. Will that be harder or easier than what we had to do for these poles? I'd say very similar in terms of amount of time that would take. Somewhat similar. It's just drilling a hole, brazing on a bit, and then customizing a screw to go through that. That's not too bad. In fact, we can form the handle out of epoxy putty over the screw. So I'm excited to work on that. Let me just set this aside now since this is done.